Welcome back to the Reprioritizing Self YouTube series, where we discuss tips, strategies, and the real ish that comes with reprioritizing ourselves in this society. I'm Kiara, and I'm a healer and trauma healing coach.
And I'm Larisha. I'm a counselor, wellness facilitator, and founder of Wellness Brand with Love LC. And we are your co-hosts. So stick around, y'all, for this episode. We're going to be sharing crystals, affirmations, a journal reflection question to support you on your healing journey. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification button, and smash the like button, y'all.
Thanks, y'all. So we have a very exciting episode for you today. And if you've been rocking with us, you know that this year we're going through the 4 elements and how we can use those in our own healing journey. We talked about earth in the last few episodes, and now we're getting into the fire element of this series. So fire is really all about tapping into our passion, boldness, energy, enthusiasm, courage, and our vitality. Creativity, desire, sensuality, action, all of that is in fire, okay? So we're going to be jumping into that through these next few episodes. Today, we're going on a spicy journey with Michaela Lacey and we're going to get into kink and polyamory, and we're tapping into our internal intimate desires in relationships. So if you aren't familiar, kink is a term used to describe unconventional or non-traditional sexual preferences, practices, or fantasies that deviate from societal norms. These preferences can include a wide range of activities or interests that may involve elements such as BDSM, fetishism, role-playing, and other forms of alternative sexual expression. And there's many different definitions about kink, okay? So please use the definition that aligns most with you. Polyamory, I'm going to give a definition for that as well, but same thing here, right? We can be expansive in our definitions. We're going to use this one for today. Polyamory is the practice or desire of having multiple romantic or sexual relationships simultaneously with the consent of all parties involved. It involves openness, honesty, and communication among all partners. So these are 2 completely different things. Kink is one thing, polyamory is another thing. And these are just working definitions that we're going to be using today, and they can change. They can change for you. So let's get into who we're talking to today about these juicy topics.
Yes, y'all. We are super, super duper excited to be welcoming our guest, Michaela Lacey. If y'all have been rocking with us since season 1 and season 2, then you know who Kayla is. So, Michaela Lacey is a licensed yoga psychotherapist and founder of The Well Healing, which offers community-centered resources for holistic wellness. In their work, Kayla supports Black and POC queer women, femmes, and non-binary folks develop their holistic coping strategies for complex identity trauma. She is a kink and poly, ethically non-monogamous, affirming clinician, and a hottie, hashtag hottie, word to Megan Thee Stallion, and a Scorpio sun. So welcome back, Kayla. We are so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be back, and to be back, especially to get to talk about this, feels really exciting and right on time. So happy to be here.
Yes, thank you, Kayla. We're so excited about this conversation, and also just so grateful for you being open to discussing this with us. And I know you're already doing this and supporting your clients through this. So thank you for also supporting us and our audience through this journey. So let's get into it. So as always in our episodes, we have a check-in question. We want to know how each other are doing, what's going on. And like we said, we're getting into the fire element of our series. And so when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about how fire is known for destruction, right? It's known for destruction, but also it leaves space for something new to happen. So I was thinking about the forest fires that often happen in California when I was living there. Always every year, at least once, you are going to need a mask. You are going to need to stay inside because the fires are burning. But new life comes out of that burning afterwards, right? And so I was thinking about the season of change for each of us and what has burned or ended recently or fairly recently that is making space for newness for us. So, Kayla, I want to check in with you. What's been burnt? What is ready for newness in your world?
Yes, I love this question so much and feel like it wraps in so well to what we'll be getting into more in just a little bit. But very recently, I have been very excited about finally crossing the threshold of being a fully licensed clinician. So I'm very glad to have the ashes of gaining hours and all that stuff behind me, and really it's so little but so much changes with just being on the officially licensed side of things. And so I do feel very much, I've been telling everybody around me, I feel like I'm like entering a new chapter, a new era where there is just more room and possibility for what I can do, now having the kind of institutional support behind me, basically. But it feels really exciting, and it's been really motivating and inspiring, very big fire elements to be here in this new era of work and self. So I would say that.
I
Yeah.
love it. Oh, thank you for sharing and congratulations. That is huge. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it really is. As a social worker, I know what it takes to get to that other side. And I am like, we'll see. I had to pause that journey. I was like, nah, it's too much. So I'm so happy for you. I'm so excited for you, and we need you. So grateful for your journey, for the labor that you put in to get to this, and excited for what's next.
Thank you.
Larisha, yeah, Larisha, what about you? What's burning? What's burnt? What are you ready
Burnt.
for? Yeah.
This is a really good question. What's burnt for me and burning is past narratives. So narratives that I felt restricted by, and that a lot of my childhood narratives that were kind of fed to me, and that I embodied or felt to be true, and like this is the only way things can exist. Very fixated. I'm burning those, releasing those, freeing myself, loving myself more, and liberating myself to exist fully as who I am. And it feels so good and so powerful. And I'm so thankful for all the support that I've had to get to this point. And it's work. It's work. And I'm allowing those old narratives to burn. So I'm so thankful.
I say, yes. Burn them, burn them, burn them. Whatever is no longer serving us. I see you.
Yes.
I see you blossoming out here into the new flower of this season, and I'm excited for you.
Thank
And
you so
I think
much.
I'm sure our audience has seen that too, right? We've been all journeying through this together for years now, and I just
Right before
appreciate
y'all's
it.
eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
Exactly.
Literally. So
Ah,
Kiara, let us know
mhm.
what's going on for you. What have you burned, released? What are you making space for?
Yeah. There's been a lot of change in my life recently, but I would say the thing that sticks out most for me is burning my kind of the fears that I've held on to since childhood around like masculinity. There's been a lot of like healing parent wounds and stepping into my adult self. And that's felt like really transformative. And I feel like I feel different. I feel like I'm starting to look different. It just, the way that I'm connecting with myself feels different. And so I think releasing things that I've been holding on to for so long in a feeling that was keeping me safe or protecting me, and really now knowing what is true protection for myself and what I need as true protection for myself in terms of those things. So narratives, I'm with you on the narrative shifting. I'm with you. I'm walking into something new right now. And it's feeling big, probably bigger than I can even name it in this check-in. So yeah, that's what's up for me. I guess what's down, burnt down. Yeah. So yeah, let's get into the interview, y'all. Like this time. So Kayla, oh, I'm so excited about this. Okay. Y'all ready? I don't know if y'all are really ready because we're about to get into this. It's getting juicy. Okay, so our first question for you, Kayla, is can you share your personal journey into the world of kink and polyamory? And how has your journey helped you better understand yourself and your desires?
Yes. So I'm gonna give us the succinct version as much as I can because a journey. But honestly, when I look back, I see lots of kinky desires and things in a lot of my vanilla relationships. And vanilla just means a not kinky relationship, right? And so it's always sort of been there. But in a season of profound grief where now when I think about it, fire felt like it had burned down so many things around me. This was around maybe like 2021. I was grieving the loss of a partner. I was grieving and processing a lot of stuff with my parents and my queer identity and um, having to really sit with a lot of the things that I felt like I needed to sit with and decide just what I was going to do with all of these things. And so while that was one of the most difficult seasons of my life, it brought me to a really important place because one of the things that I learned during this period of time is that no one is coming to save me, that I needed to be the person in my life who I was trying to outsource in all of these different ways and all of these different relationships. And so it also brought me to, if I find myself coming back to this place where I'm alone so often, let me at least figure out how to make this space feel tolerable, maybe even feel good if I'm going to be with myself. And so that was one of the most difficult but most important like seasons in my life because I really learned how to make a home within my body, within my own heart, which meant learning more about me in ways that I thought I already knew. I feel like I've always been very self-aware and things like that. But I needed to learn how to be my own protector and advocate, how to be my own lover, how to be my own source of self-soothing, all of these different things, and what it meant for me to really be me. If I'm just alone in the room, like, who am I? And do I enjoy being with myself? Part of that journey included me just leaning into different things that I wasn't able to maybe explore with previous partners and relationships. One of those things was kink. So I found a virtual workshop. This is still around like 2021 where things are still kind of mostly indoors. So there was a virtual workshop for impact play, which is one of my favorite kinks. And this was the first time that I like explicitly was learning about kink. It was led by a Black clinician, Jet Setting Jasmine, in case anyone is interested or familiar. And it was the portal that I needed to be like, oh, this is my stuff. Let me learn more. So really from there, when I was like, okay, no, I really like this, or at least want to explore more, found community online of other Black queer kinksters, eventually ran into my dominant, who I'm now in a long-term dynamic with. And it has really just evolved and exploded from there. And so that's sort of what my entryway into kink looked like. And then in terms of my polyamory, similar with kink, I had tried it before in a previous relationship. You want to talk about fire, crash and burn, baby. Nobody was ready. Nobody had the personal awareness, communication skills, all of the things that you need to really be in a poly relationship. But it was something that had already been like something that I felt could work really well for me. And so, coming into this season of my life and doing the work that I had done with just being with myself, put me in a position where now I actually did have a relationship with myself, to know my authentic desires, to know how to communicate that honestly and effectively, to be able to comfort and soothe myself with all of the things that you run into in a polyamorous relationship. And so it was around maybe the same time. Kink and poly really kind of were both part of this new space that I found myself in the aftermath of feeling like I was losing all of these important relationships to me. And so soon after, I got to really embody that and had a couple of partners, learned so much from them, learned so much about myself. I'm still doing both kinky and poly things. And so that's what has brought me here, in short. And I do want to say, I am still relatively new. There are wonderful kink educators, polyamorous educators who dedicate their life to this stuff. So I'm just going to give the best that I can from my knowledge and experience today, but do encourage folks to go and seek out people who really breathe this stuff to get the fullness of like what it means to be a kinky person or a poly person, and all the different ways that that can show up for folks.
Wow. Kayla, I love that you explored and shared like the foundation of how you leaned in first to that relationship with yourself and expanded onto the curiosity and allowed space for yourself to explore those curiosities. And it's led you to where you are now. So I just love so much that you started with the like, let me check in with me and get and identify how do I feel, how can I get my needs met within myself first, as I continue to explore and expand. And I just love that. So thank you so much for sharing. And that leads us into our next question, which is, can you share a particularly transformative or enlightening experience you've had while exploring your fire through kink?
Yes, I feel like my dynamic that I'm in with my dominant is maybe like the most transformative part of kink for me. I'm actually really lucky. So I identify as a submissive. There are all kinds of like kinky identities that one might fall into. And so a dominant and a submissive, often you find them together. And what that refers to is consensual power exchange. So I happily, consensually, full enthusiastic body, yes, say, here, amazing dominant, who with time and experience I trust. You can take control of this thing or this part of my life, right? And so that dynamic has been really powerful because it has really made me embody all of the different things that I really learned during that season of grief. And I started there because I would not have been equipped with what I need to navigate kink and polyamory without first having an established relationship with myself. And so the ways that my dynamic has been just so transformative is me getting to lean into pleasure in ways that I never have before, for me to experience a kind of safety in ways that I never have before, for me to experience what it's like to just be in deep intimacy with someone, and the way that that can feel so good, and also the things that it really challenges. I've continued to learn so much about myself through this dynamic, and I'm trying to think if there's any like specific moment that I can name. But I think it's really come for me personally so one of the ways that I am submissive is as something they would call a service sub. So like it brings me joy to do things to make my partner happy, like big or small. That's something that I enjoy. One of my other personal things is like making a mistake, in the way that my gut instinct is kind of to like just self-punish and be mad and beat myself up for the next however long. And it has been so transformative to experience making a mistake, and being held with such compassion, and that not changing how someone feels about me, or not losing affection or privileges because of that. Not to say that there's not correction and accountability too, and that also being something really powerful and transformative, but it's changed so much for me to feel safe as a Black queer femme in a dynamic of any kind. And not that I haven't had that in other relationships, but this is just part of what like a kink dynamic is you stepping so fully into your most vulnerable desires, and trusting someone with your body, trusting someone with this knowledge of you, and what it means to actually get to feel what safety is like. I don't know, that sounds so maybe kind of like flat as I talk about it, but the lived experience has been so transformative for me. So yeah, I would say that.
Yeah. No, it didn't feel flat at all. It felt very dynamic. And I think, I just think about what, society says around kink and, especially just queer anything.
Yeah.
It's always a very particular, like, there's always a particular like view of this, and it's never safety.
Right.
It's never like being in touch, or being like completely seen and held and supported. It's something devious and this and that and dark and all the different things that come with what everybody else thinks about this. So hearing you speak about that, and how you have personally experienced the safety, the holding in that for yourself, is super powerful. And I'm sure, for me, I'm like, ooh, I need to go exploring some things, because look, I'm trying to do some more healing. Okay. I'm trying to get healed.
Yeah, that's actually something my dom says all the time, that Black queer kink is healing, because of what people miss when you just like see, because typically when people think like kink and BDSM, you think of like a dungeon, some dark, everything is in leather, dimly lit place. And it is that some of the times, but what's underneath that is like consent is what makes anything in that space happening pleasurable. And that the communication is so much a part of it, and safety, and there's so much care. I think that kinky folks have so much to offer to people in any kind of relationship, of what it means to like, even if we're again in like a vanilla or more normative dynamic, that we talk about our desires and what we hope for and what we want to feel, even though we've had sex 200 times before, maybe this time I want something different, what it means to have aftercare, and we debrief of how was this for you, and whatever you need, if that's water or cuddles or snacks or something. So these are all parts of like kink that do not get highlighted, but are so critical to the scene, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And Black queer kink especially, is a little different than normative white kink. So there's also a little asterisk on that
Always.
too.
It's always an asterisk. Okay. We have our way. Yes. Yeah, no, it's so special hearing the dynamic and the like interchange of pleasure and pain, and that the two can exist in one space when there is that consent, when there is that safety that's created, and communication. Like, I think that's been clear, like through kink, polyamory, through whatever, like communication is key.
Yep.
We need that in order to have the space to explore those desires in a way that feels safe and comfortable. So thank you for sharing that. Not flat at all. Not at all flat. Nothing flat about that. You started to talk a little bit about this in your last response, but have there been any challenges for you as you've been integrating kink into your healing journey, polyamory into your healing journey? And if so, what have those been?
Yeah. The biggest challenges for me, I think, with both have just been the stigma around it, external and internal stuff to unlearn and unpack. Both kink and poly, depending on who you ask, might have there's a lot of feelings that people might have about it. So I have had to just navigate the fear of being judged if I name that kink is a really big part of my life, or that I'm polyamorous. And so that has by far been the most difficult thing, which ultimately is about shame, and feeling like who I am is wrong, or what I desire is wrong because it doesn't fit the ideas of normalcy that is really cisgender and heteronormative and Eurocentric and all of these things. So even though I know that up here, it is a different thing like in my body of like, if I find myself really excited to say something about my multiple partners and being like, look, well, I don't know if they're gonna understand that this is a totally loving and consensual thing, or if they're gonna just think, oh, you're one of them, just treating people wrong out here, something like that. Or if I want to share that, oh my gosh, I just had this amazing impact session, or I was tied up last weekend, and being like, how could you let someone do that to you? And especially for me, the layers of being a Black person participating in kink, knowing how even on a visual level, some of the practices can be difficult to see or to accept, and all of these different things. And so even with that, it has been a continued practice, again, with all of these things, of still authenticity matters most to me. And so having to really embody my values, even when it feels hard, has been my practice. But the good and the bad news is I've been practicing that for a minute. Like during my season of grief, where I started from, one of the really big things that I was working through with my family is that I am a queer person, and feeling like this was not an aspect of myself that was wanted, accepted, tolerated, and me having to really decide if I was going to shrink myself, cut off parts of myself in order to be in relationship with folks, or was I going to decide to be me, love me, and have to let the chips kind of fall where they may. And so I'm happy that I chose to be myself, and you could either kind of get with it or get lost. And me and my family were in a much better place now, thank goodness. But all of that, right? It feels like it's a constant kind of evolution around be yourself, trust yourself, protect yourself, advocate for yourself. It's okay if not everyone wants to rock with you. And that just means that you're actually closer to the people who are in deepest alignment because I'm being who I am. And so the biggest challenge, but also I think the biggest blessing, because the folks who have decided to still be in relationship with me as I sit in who I am mean the world to me, because that means you really love me, and not just this version of me that I'm offering up to be palatable or acceptable to anybody. So a lot of big fire energy, which as a water sign is like tough for me. So I actually love that I'm on this episode, even because I always say how much I love and admire fire signs. I feel like I want that big, bold behavior. And I think that's what the last couple of years has really been like cultivating in me, of being like, stand on your foot. It doesn't matter if it's your mama, if it's your ex, if it's this friend, like you need to be you in all of these spaces. So yeah.
Ashe to that. Ashe to that. There was so much. I mean, honestly, it's like
I'm
processing
throwing a
everything.
lot out there.
It's
Yeah.
no, it's sorry. I'm like, oh wow, just my brain and my body, my spirit is like, yep, all of this. And hearing the shame piece of it, like it's so. I mean, it's so understandable. I mean, we carry so much shame just being ourselves and like having to navigate a world that is not interested in us in the ways that it should be, and doesn't see us in those ways, and then to come in with other identities that already have other stigmas on them. I know family dynamics can be super tough, so I hear all that fire happening like ablaze these last few years for you. And the newness that is coming out of that, like coming back to our analogy from the beginning, and where you are and where you're going, I think is super powerful. And I'm so glad that you are holding others through this as well. Just thinking about what you've learned on your journey and how you've been navigating that, and then supporting people who are in their own journeys and on their own path, but that need that kind of support, that understanding, and the matter of factness that comes with being, a member of a community or sharing an identity. And there's like no questions. It's like there is no judgment. There's no questions here because we get it. So, yeah, that fire has fired. Okay. It is burnt. It is burnt. So kind of in line with that, what advice would you give to someone who is interested in exploring kink as a means of tapping into their own desires and passions, or polyamory?
Yeah, I would say, and something that I support my clients and loved ones with, is just knowing yourself and who you are. If that foundation is there, I think it allows you to navigate anything as it comes, because at the end of the day, I know myself. And so that means that I can, to the best of my ability, know what is maybe for me or not for me, more aligned, less aligned. I can communicate that without trying to, again, just please someone who's in front of me. And that's important, even just for safety. Like, you don't want to be in kink saying yes to everything because I just don't want to have an uncomfortable conversation. And same with polyamory. You don't want to be telling your partners what they want to hear because I don't want to, upset somebody or something like that. And I think being able to say something that might disappoint someone or upset someone it's easier to do that when I know that regardless of what someone thinks and feels about this, I can take care of myself. I can soothe myself. I can get myself through this. And that, I think, just opens up a really different way of moving through the world if there's a kind of foundation set here. And so I really would say that that is an important place to start so that you can make the choices that are in deepest alignment with you. And we can't make those authentic choices if we're not real with ourself, at least, you know? And so I really would say that's my biggest thing. And also to let yourself experiment. Some things you'll like, and some things will not be your cup of tea, and that's okay. And I think exploring and experimenting is part of what gives life its juice, you know, of novel things, whether or not they are something you want to hold on to. And so I would really say that those are my biggest things, as well as like having the community and the loved ones around you who can also be with you as you make your way. Because as important as it is to have a solid self, we're also not meant to go through any parts of our life alone. And so it has been really helpful to have the loved ones in my life who are also a part of subcultures and underground worlds where not everybody can understand what we have going on, to just remind me that, like, no, it's okay that you're into these really weird things. That just is something that gives you pleasure. And what is life for but to, you know, enjoy it as much as we can, you know? And so maybe that would be my last thing too, to enjoy it. Enjoy the journey. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love that. And hearing that, I was like, I was highlighting like words that kind of like summarized what you just mentioned. So I was like, okay, so that foundation with self and awareness, communication with ourselves and with our partners or loved ones, and community was the three that really stuck out to me. So thank you so much for sharing that, and I'm sure our audience is really, you know, getting the information that they need and the support, and hopefully sparking that. Oh, the other word was curiosity. So that curiosity piece and how important it is to really lean into that, even as we grow and get older. I feel like sometimes we can kind of get in routines and things. So keeping that space open for curiosity is so important. So thank you so much for sharing that. And so we want to know how can people connect with you, and what are your current offerings and services?
Yes. So you can connect with me in so many ways. I love to support folks as in my work as a therapist around these kinds of things. So that's one way that you can connect with me. But in general, I would say to follow The Well Healing on Instagram. We are doing some things that I feel very excited about. So all 2024, we're having a community conversation called Take Good Care. We are spending the whole year talking about how to make care a lifestyle, a way of being, not just something that you do once you're burnt out or about to get burnt out, but that it can actually be a part of the fabric of our lives. And so talking about that, by the time this has dropped, our booklets have been released. So we have some really amazing booklets. Everything is holistic. And so booklets that support mental, emotional, physical, spiritual well-being. Check those out. And if you are interested in getting to know me and my little personal thoughts and feelings a little more, I'm on Instagram as Bend, BEND, it like Lacy, LACY. And so those are all of the ways that you can connect with me, and that will connect you to all of the other things that you might want to know me as a therapist, or if you want to collaborate, or if you want to hire me or do something with the well healing. Those are all the ways that you can find me.
Yes, y'all tap in, tap in, tap in. You see, we have a wealth of knowledge right here, and you have questions. So get connected, y'all. So excited for folks to tap in with you, whether that be through therapy with you, whether that be through the booklets, the conversations that is about care. Y'all know that's all we're about here. So get into the conversation. It's very relevant to everything we talk about on these episodes. And Kayla has been a guest on our show back in our Instagram live days. So you need to get to Instagram and just go back and find out what we talked about the last time. But anyway, so excited for them and so grateful to you for coming and, going through all of this with us. This is a vulnerable conversation. We talked about the shame that we can hold around this, and it's no small thing for you to come here and talk with us about this. So we're just so grateful, and words aren't really enough to talk about what that means to hold this space in this YouTube community and far and wide spaces that it stretches. So thank you. And we're going to keep getting into it, y'all. There's still more to the episode because y'all know we always got to give y'all your crystals, affirmations, and journal prompts because we're talking about fire. So how do we keep that fire going? The crystal that we are sharing for this episode is carnelian. Our baby carnelian. Y'all know we love us some carnelian. This is not their first time on the show. Okay. This is not their first time. And so as a reminder, carnelian is a great crystal to actually enhance sexual energy. It works in our sacral chakra, which is really right below the belly button. So that's where our fire is, y'all, our desire, fire and desire. And also it helps to enhance creativity. It helps with the flow of creative ideas. It can increase our motivation. It can stimulate success in business as well, y'all. So get this money. It improves concentration, and it also aids with emotional balance. So getting into that conversation with yourself about what your desires are, this is a great crystal to get into communication with yourself, to enhance whatever energies you are calling in, whether that be creativity, sexual energy, intimacy, business success, all the things. So get you a carnelian crystal. You know where to find them. Everything is in the show notes. The other thing I was going to say too for the audience, we will get from Kayla the resources, the people y'all need to be following, for the kink and poly richness, right? That she mentioned earlier. So we will make sure that happens as well. So that is our crystal. That is our information. Let's get into our affirmation.
Yes, it's affirmation time, y'all. So you know how we do things here. We say our affirmation 3 times. Our affirmation is, my inner fire fuels my creativity and drive, propelling me toward my deepest desires. My inner fire fuels my creativity and drive, propelling me toward my deepest desires. My inner fire fuels my creativity and drive, propelling me toward my deepest desires.
Mm-hmm. That inner fire.
Yes.
Y'all, what is burning up? What is burning? What is propelling us?
Yes.
All right.
And we're also going to get into our reflection question. So our reflection question is, in what areas of my life do I feel the strongest connection to my inner fire? How can I apply this passion to other areas that may need more energy? In what areas of my life do I feel the strongest connection to my inner fire? How can I apply this passion to other areas that may need more energy? One more time. In what areas of my life do I feel the strongest connection to my inner fire? How can I apply this passion to other areas that may need more energy?
I need these questions. Get
Yes.
into this. Get into your journals, y'all. Y'all already know. Get your journal from With Love LC. Tap in for your therapy and your healing with Kayla. Okay? We are in protecting our peace. We will put all of the things up, all the resources for you all. If you have questions, if you have thoughts, comments, feelings, if this sparks something where you're like, I'm uncomfortable, and you want to let us know, put it in the comments. Okay? Put it in the comments. We want to know, what is this percolating for you? What fires are kindling for you right now? Let us know. And we will be sure to tap in the comments with you there. Thank you again, Kayla. Thank you. We're going to be back with more fire for the next episode. So y'all ready to keep journeying into the fire with us. Come on. All right, y'all. See you next time.
See y'all next time. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.